All right, Oracle. Since we were talking about side hill lies, yeah. So the thing I forgot to mention was that okay. So this works. So down the hill, right? So everything is basically if you're uphill downhill, then even though you have 1 foot, right, you can still move shear forces this way. What you can't do is go this direction, right? So I don't get to like I can't like push my pelvis up the slope. So on the downhill lie, I basically have to just go, I'm just immediately into rotation mode. And I have freedom to rotate because even though I'm using 1 foot, I can't go this way, but I can go that way with the shear forces so I can turn. But in this instance, where I'm down the slope this way, now I'm trying to fall down the slope. So I've got to rearrange myself. I got to stick my butt out, put my chest down, partly because I got to bend over more because the ball's below my feet. And I can't let the shaft out any farther, right? But at least if I'm like above here, I can stand. I'm still being pushed down and back into my heels, but I lean into the slope a little bit, and I can just kind of shorten the club as much as I want. So there's probably less adjustment that you have to make when the ball's above your feet. And I think just based on your shot pattern, being above the feet where the ball wants to go that way, the fact that you have kind of a natural cut pattern that tends to neutralize a little bit. And also, obviously, you're even more toe down compared to the ground level dynamically. So I think all that tends to plus minus to a net value of 0 more easily. So it's a little bit easier to manage. Whereas this one's a little bit more difficult for anybody, but it's because you can't let the shaft out farther. So you got to bend over more, which means you got to stick your butt back further, right? And now I don't have the ability to move shear forces this way on my feet as much. But what I can do is I can still do this, right? Because I've still got both feet. It's just that my CG is trying to be pushed toward my toes. So when your CG has constraints this way, from toe back to heel, then it limits my ability to create shear forces under my feet and turn my body. There's still going to be some rotation, obviously, but I can shift laterally really easily, right? So it's not that I'm adding lateral shift, but I have the same amount of lateral shift with the absence of as much rotational freedom through the ball. Whereas this one, I have, I don't have necessarily more rotation, but I have more rotation relative to the amount of lateral I have, which is none, right? Because I'm locating it to 1 foot. But I'm trying to figure out, like, on this like downhill one, which you said is a little bit more of your blind spot. Like, I'm trying to figure out what it is, especially since you've got maybe one that occasionally goes too far right, but a lot of them that are going left, like pulls or double crosses or whatever you want to call them. So I'm trying to figure out, just because this is laboratory work, right? So I'm just trying to figure out what I think would be the issue as far as the ball wanting to go left. So just to experiment with it a little bit. Um, I'm going to use that. You might be able to see there's a white post down there. I kind of use that as my reference. I'm just going to try to aim at that and just see what the ball does without making too many changes. So, assuming I can get the static alignments correct, um, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna hit a couple little ones just to get a little more warmed up. Okay, so that was starting right cutting. That was way right. I'm not trying to make any adjustments right now. I'm just hitting it just to see what happens. There's maybe a hair on the chunky side too. That was more solid, but starting right, continuing to cut. Kind of what you'd expect off the slide. This is a pretty severe one. Not crazy, crazy, but it's it'd get if you got this slide in a it's kind of the semi rough too. I don't know whether you're talking fairway or rough, but fine. I can perch the ball up a little bit and still get a pretty clean strike on it. But I definitely feel like even that second one where I hit the ball solid, I definitely feel like I'm stalled in rotation. When I come down, um, I definitely don't feel like I can like exit rotating left, right? Because again, my CG is out toward my toes, so it's hard to get that shear force across my left foot to get the rotation to exit out. But the ball's going right, and I definitely don't feel the face flipping shut. I feel myself, because I have less exit rotation, I feel myself almost trying to swing my arms across my chest so that I can keep the handle moving in the absence of rotation. And if anything, that's keeping the face more to the right. Try that one more time. Really feel bent over, butt sticking out. Okay, that was starting quite a bit left and then cutting back across the target. Probably ended up 5 or 6 feet right of the target. Starting a good bit left there. Might be a bit in the heel strike there. Actually, it's pretty solid. Maybe a little heely, but not bad. That was starting a good bit left, cutting back into the target. Ended up probably 10 feet left of the target. Little pull cut. So I don't know if you're talking about, I assume you're talking about one that starts left and just stays, like just a hard pull. I don't think you mean it's actually drawing left as much as it's just starting left and staying that way. This is a little bit downhill too. The ball's taking off pretty flat because it's not only this way, but it's a little bit down. Just trying to make sure I get my alignments. My static alignment's good. That was starting, I think, pretty much at the target, cutting probably 40 feet to the right, something like that. Just a gentle drifting cut, 40 feet or so, ish. I'm going to try to hit this a little bit. I'm not going to do anything directionally, but I'm going to try to hit it just a little bit higher in the air. Sculled the P out of it. That was kind of low heely. Starting left, low off the face, low off the heel, cutting across the target. Directionally, it probably only ended up, I don't know, 10, 15 feet right of the target. Sculled it trying to hit it up in the air. Let me try that one more time. So that one I tried to make sure I got down underneath it and launched it up in the air. Started a decent amount left, cuts back again. Doesn't make it all the way back, but probably only ended up 10 feet left of the hole or the target line. I mean, this is really, again, my swing's not your swing, but just based on what I think is happening, I mean, to me, it's what's probably happening to you. Like if you looked at my dispersion there, it's either just a little left of the pin out to about 40 feet right of the pin. So that's my dispersion, like kind of a 40-foot wide circle, starting 5 to 10 feet left of the target line max, going to 30, 40 feet to the right. Yeah, maybe 50 feet, right? And the center of the dispersion is probably, what, 15 feet right of the target line? So that would mean that if I was going to hit those shots, if I was going to take that dispersion, assuming pins in the middle of the green, I would probably want to aim the middle of my dispersion 15 feet left, right? So let me try that just for giggles. Even though some of those are kind of stinkers, they aren't hit great, but we'll just, hey, that's what the dispersion is. So we'll play off that. Let me pick that spot where I think I should go to move that dispersion to the left. Let's see if I can put a decent strike on it. Okay, that was starting a decent amount left. It was probably starting 10 or 15 feet left of my aim point, and it cut 5 feet, right? Pretty solid strike, cut 5 feet. Would have ended up fine. I mean, playable, not left of the green. Left side of the green maybe, but okay. Pretty good. Let me try that again. Center of dispersion, 15 feet left. I see a little mark about where I want to go. Get my static alignment correct. Ooh, knuckleball. That's why it's going straighter. Like you could see it launched higher, but then it just flattened out at the apex. So that thing's like super low spin. So I hit it. I let go of a heater on that one. Had some grass between the club and the ball, getting some mud in the grooves too. So that straightened it out, right? So that probably would have cut more if it had been a cleaner strike. Went just left of the target and stayed right about there. Tried to cut a little bit, 5 feet, but it was a flat, straight knuckleball. Probably would have went over the green. Actually, is what that one would have done. That's what that one would have done. My vertical dispersion would not have been good. Okay, I'm gonna put it on the front of the divot there just to see if I can get a clean strike on the back of the ball. Let me get at least some of the mud off my club here. This is not a pure laboratory test. This is just scooping around to get a feel for it. But I'm starting to come to a conclusion about why I think you're hitting left. And I don't think it's your swing. Try that one more time. Should be able to generate a little more spin on this one. Got my alignment good. So starting 10 feet left, cutting quite a bit. Ended up at least 50 feet right of the hole. So it's probably 60 feet of movement. Hit solid. Had plenty of spin on it, right? Because that ball's curving. That ball was curving, man. That would have been in the right bunker for sure. But again, it's not the double cross. It's not the pull. Let me do one more. Actually, maybe a couple more. "15 feet left of the white stake." That was skanked off the bottom of the club, starting quite a bit left, trying to cut back. Actually ended up right where the center of my dispersion, I was trying to put that. Started more left and cut a little bit. Ended up 15, 20 feet left of the target line. Do one more because I don't want to finish on a thin one. That was hit really solid. Started quite a bit left, trying to cut back. Ended up 5 feet left of what I wanted my center of my dispersion to be. So probably, again, 25 feet left of the hole. Yeah, I mean, none of those are going to be, again, my swing's not your swing. So it would sound absurd, like, if I didn't do it, you should do it. It's not that. So I'm trying to figure out what's likely to happen with just, if you're making a decent pass at it. What's likely to happen? I mean, what would need to, in other words, what would need to happen to really get one started left and have it not come back at all, like a good bit left, like, because if you're double crossing and you're upset about it, that means that you're 60 feet left is probably what I'm thinking you mean by that. 50 feet left. So that would be, like, I think hard for you to do if you were lined up correctly. So my bet is that when you set up for this shot with a ball below your feet, that you may think you're setting the center of your dispersion X amount left from your target, the hole, the center of the green, wherever you're trying to have the ball end up. But my feeling is that you're actually aiming more left than that. That's what I think's happening. I don't think there's something happening in your swing or delivery numbers per se, as much as your static alignment, like you've overcorrected, like you've got your dispersion, middle of your dispersion too far to the left. And you're probably starting left of that, right? But it's the left alignment plus the left shot that makes you feel like it went way left. I think that's what's happening. All right, I want to try one more thing here. I'm going to perch it up so I can get the club on the back of the ball cleanly. and I'm going to hit a draw, or try to. I'm going to hit a draw against the slope, and I'm going to try to aim right at the white post, but I'm going to try to probably keep the ball back a smidge, come from the inside, and try to hit kind of almost like a little push draw in there. And starting it with a push draw, a push part of the push draw. I don't know if that might be trying to counteract it too much, but I'm going to try to line it up pretty much white post, ball a little back, try to encode push draw. This should come off pretty low. Okay, yeah, I shouldn't have tried to hit a push draw. I should have tried to hit a straight start at the target draw, because that pushed just to the right, but it took all the side spin to the right out of it. Me trying to hit a draw off this slope, it might have drawn 3 feet. I mean, it was pretty straight. Let me do that one more time and not try to make it push draw. Need to give myself kind of a clean lie so I can spin the ball enough to generate the curve I want. Yeah, it's sitting basically on mud, but at least I can get the club on the back of the ball. Okay, so I don't know that I want to come in straight baseline and just smother the face. I think I still want to hit a push draw, but I got to line the push draw up more to the left. So I'm going to line up at that, my original dispersion shift 15 feet left of the white stake, which is it's either a golf ball out there or a little something, little white speck. I'm going to aim at that, try to, and then ball back, and then a little push draw toward that. That feels about right. Let's go a little push draw, encode that. So pushed it toward the flag. It tried to fall to the right just barely, but me trying to draw the ball, it actually kept I would say it kept it pretty darn straight. Didn't curve much. Pretty clean strike. Low penetrating, straight shot. Looked like it had the right amount of spin. Tried the draw, looks like counteracted the fade a little bit. My push still started it from my dispersion 50 feet left toward the white post. So if I was goofing around with this and thinking about trying to make that a green finder type shot, like if I was comfortable doing that, right? We only take things into battle that we know we're really good at. It might be that I aim 10 feet left of where I want the ball to end up, and I hit a push draw that starts a little right and stays pretty straight and ends up right in the center of my dispersion. If I could hit that shot consistently, like if I felt better than that, than kind of hitting off the side slope and letting it cut. I don't know, and maybe that's easier for me to do, but that's the whole point, right? You try stuff and you try to figure out, okay, what can I feel comfortable doing with as a positive action as a green finder that I have reliability with, that I can pull out under pressure under certain shots that are kind of a blind spot for me. How can I turn that to a little bit more of an offensive weapon? But based on my experimentation, again, this is from my point of view, you probably have to do some pretty sexy stuff with your club delivery if you're setting up properly, like a little bit left of where you wanted the ball to end up off the side hill, and it was going hard enough left that it was a double cross that was causing you problems. To me, I think it might be that you're actually aiming more left than you think you are. So if I had to guess, that would be my guess based on the information. And then it might totally change. I might watch you hit it 2 times and go, oh no, that's not what's happening. But that's kind of what I would think might be happening. And the other thing too about trying like to draw off the side slope, and the other thing the other day with the video I was telling you about, controlling, manipulating the way the radius hits the ground. Again, we aren't doing this because we're going to do that on the golf course under tournaments. We're not like adapting and hitting all these different shots on command. You basically get your stock shot everywhere you can. The whole point was just to get a feel for what's happening at your feet when you change things around, because things are going to happen at your feet when you start changing the slopes, and you want to know how it affects the radius of the swing, essentially is what that was all about. So anyway, yeah, take a look at that, see if you agree with that might be a possibility, and then you have to go out on the You have to go out on the course and find some of these lies and pick targets. You know, when you get a few minutes here and there, throw 4 or 5 balls down, pick your targets, and kind of see what happens when you try different stuff off the side slopes. And then I don't know, maybe you'll come up with something that makes sense to you. So anyway, there's some more of that. Chew on that. Keep grinding. See ya.